Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 157 of the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, and this is the #1 show for proven practical tips and advice on how to grow a successful membership website. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I promise you're going to enjoy this episode. I had the chance to sit down and talk to my good friends Andrew and Pete from andrewandpete.com, as well as the Atomic Membership Community. These guys are some of the most creative content marketers you will ever come across. If you already know them, you follow their stuff, then that kind of goes without saying. You only need to spend 5 or 10 minutes consuming their stuff to know that they do things a little differently. If you haven't come across Andrew and Pete before, then you are in for a little bit of a treat. They are very, very good at what they do. But today I didn't want to talk to them just about their marketing, which is what they're perhaps best known for, their video blogs, their podcast, all that sort of stuff. I want to talk to them specifically about how their creativity and all that fun stuff we see in their marketing carries over into their membership community and what others can do to add a more creative twist to their member experience. So if you've ever thought that, I need to do something to be different, I need to do something to stand out from my competition, or just to inject a little bit more personality, a little bit more of me into my membership, but maybe you've held yourself back, maybe you've told yourself that perhaps your industry or your topic is too boring, perhaps you're in an industry that has to deal with a lot of regulation or where everyone is expected to be really professional and really buttoned down, and you're not sure how to break out of that. Well, we covered that as well in this show. Andrew and Pete shared some fantastic tips for how you can start thinking a little more creatively and a little more differently within your business and within your membership. So I had such a fun time talking to these guys. This is a very, very practical episode. Lots of ideas, lots of stuff you can take away and use. So I recommend grabbing a notepad and a pen and jotting away as you listen, or listen once over and then make a plan to revisit it afterwards to take some notes and think about how you can use the tips and advice that Andrew and Pete dish out during this episode within your own membership. So, with no further ado, I'm going to jump right in now to my conversation with Andrew and Pete. My guests for the show are two of the most creative content marketers in the world today. Their award-winning company helps businesses and brands through their popular YouTube channel, podcast, and membership community. They're the authors of 2 hit books, regular keynoters at events around the world, and they're consistently featured on sites like Social Media Examiner, Convince and Convert, and Entrepreneur on Fire, to name but a few. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome to the show my good friends, Andrew and Pete.
Boom, boom, boom. Right to the intro, Mike. You forgot neighbours as well, Mike.
I did. Well, I've moved to the posh part of town now, so,
Former neighbours. And former friends.
Yeah, after this show is done. It's so great to have you guys on the show. I've wanted you on the show for a while, actually, but it's the sort of thing where I just keep seeing little things you guys are doing in the background. And it's just kind of adding up and adding up and adding up to the point where I'm like, there's no way I can't just get these guys on the show to pick their brains about the things they're doing in their marketing.
Thanks, Mike. We'll forgive you now.
There we go. Did that work?
We're good.
Yeah?
We're good.
We're all right now.
Yeah.
For now.
Also, now, I mentioned at the beginning, you two are the most creative content marketers around right now. And so that's the main theme of this episode, creativity, how to be more creative in marketing your membership, in your member experience, how you interact with and serve your community, and so on. Mm-hmm. But that word creativity, it's kind of like authentic, professional. It's one of those broad, vague, subjective kind of catch-all words, right? It means different things to different people. Mm-hmm. What's it mean to you guys? How do you guys define creativity? And what's the difference between something creative and something that's just a bit bleh?
Okay, I really love this because what we find is that in this world of content, this digital era that we're living in, it's not novel to have content anymore. Okay, so this whole idea of content marketing, social media, email marketing, it's all been done before, thousands and thousands of times by loads and loads of people, right? So our problem in this era that we're in is not kind of like, what do I do? But it's just the pure amount of competition that you face.
Yes.
And the advice that most people are getting is from people that have been there, done that, but 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Or they've done it, but then it's totally in a different world to that person. So when people are trying to follow this advice, like start a blog, write a blog, and all this kind of stuff, they're just kind of following in the footsteps of this person who did it when there was less competition around.
Yeah, they got in there first.
What we find is people are really banging their heads against the wall because let's face it, if you do the same thing as someone else that has done it before you, like, how are you ever going to like catch up to that, right? Because you're only ever going to be one step behind. So what a lot of people do, the advice the experts give is, see who's doing the best in your industry and kind of do what they're doing. Whereas that's not going to work. You're never going to catch up or definitely not leapfrog that person.
Yeah, I think there's a real copy-paste mentality, which kind of really frustrates us. And we're kind of sick of people getting suckered in by copy this email script word for word, or follow this blueprint and you'll make 10 grand this month. And it's just you wouldn't get that in any other industry. Like, copy your competitors exactly and achieve the exact same results, right? But for some reason with online marketing, people think that's okay to do, but
you wouldn't steal a TV ad template, right? That would just not work. So why do it in online? All right. So when we talk about creativity, what we mean here in this context is trying to create content. I'll do things a little bit differently to what your competition is doing. And if you can do it in a way that is different, like positively, not just different rubbish, which is a key difference, then you have the ability to grow faster than ever before. And we know this because that's exactly what we did, right? We spent years and years and years, like I would say 4 to 5 years solid, doing what everyone else was doing and getting like 0 results.
Yeah.
And the moment we started to be a little bit more creative and put more personality into our content, and we were fun, right? We used creativity to come up with fun content ideas, but you don't necessarily have to be fun. That's a topic of conversation for a little bit later. But the moment we started to do that was the moment we started to get noticed. We stood out. We got more shares than ever before, more reach, more subscribers, more fans, and obviously more sales. And it was almost like overnight that happened. And we want people to stop hitting their heads against the wall, copying what everyone else is doing, find their own path and go for that, right? And succeed and leapfrog their competition. That's what we want for people. So hopefully we can get stuck into that today.
Yeah, definitely. With that, when you guys kind of stop doing what everyone else is doing, because you're absolutely right. Like most of these guys who are setting the template and setting the path, they had the advantage of being there first, right?
Yes.
And no formatting of a blog post or fancy graphics in your video can give you that same sort of advantage. Like that's gone. That's done. So
it's funny you should mention that because we have this motto that to stand out, you either need to be better or different. So if you are better than everyone else, then obviously you're going to stand out and people are going to come to you as the go-to expert, right? And if you are in a tiny, tiny niche, you can be better than everyone else, right? Which is great. That's how, Mike, you win, right? Because you are amazingly, infinitely better at everyone else at talking about membership sites, right?
So kind. So kind of you to say.
You're welcome. So, that's cool. But if we came and did what you're doing, it would be incredibly difficult for us to be better than you.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've got like a good few years on us, right? So for us to catch up to that, it's going to be really tough. But if we wanted to get into the memberships market, we could potentially win by being different to you.
Is that a threat, Pete?
I was going to say, don't you be giving people ideas either.
To stand a chance. If we wanted to stand even a morsel of a chance, and that's where creativity comes in, because a lot of people are almost scared of doing that. And so we've got some cool tips that we could go into about getting over being scared of creativity as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll dive into those in a bit. Is it a case of actually if you can be better and different, or do you want to go all into trying to be one or the other?
I mean, I think you want to be as good as possible.
Yeah, you don't want
to be like as best as you can be.
Yeah, you don't want to be polishing a turd here. You kind of
exactly. You want to make sure whatever you're creating is awesome.
Yeah.
But if you're going into an industry that has a leader, like just what we're saying is you can't try to just copy that leader and be better than them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, without doubt. All right, let's get specific then. Let's talk about some of the ways that you guys are using creativity within your own membership. You know, there's anybody who checks out what you guys are doing at andrewandpete.com will see that your content and your marketing are inherently creative. And maybe it's a little bit easier to be creative with marketing because marketing is all about grabbing attention and doing stuff to stand out. But when it comes to the day-to-day, when it comes to the way in which you design and deliver a product like a membership, the way in which you craft that experience, then maybe it's a different kettle of fish, or maybe it's not. Maybe this is what we can talk about. Because, you know, I keep seeing a lot of little random things you guys are doing with Atomic, which is the name of your membership. See you guys putting out little fun things on social media, cool little touches here and there that I'm certainly not seeing other people doing. Can you talk us through some of the stuff you do with your Atomic membership to be more creative with your actual member experience?
Yeah, so we have 3 kind of brand values that we run through everything we do. One of them is rule breakers, so we always like to do things differently. One is best friends, because we are kind of best friends and we always want that kind of friendly vibe. And one is inspire action. So we don't want to be fluffy. We want to give people actual stuff that they can kind of go and do. And we would encourage everyone to go and think of those 3 brand values that's going to define everything you do, not just your content, but how you're running your membership too. Now, we tell people to do this, and I think some people think it's fluffy or a little bit vague, but it's not. Honestly, like every single action that we take, we run through those 3 brand values, and that's how we can come up with ideas. So for our membership site, one of the things that we really want to encourage is that second brand value, that kind of best friends. We want to make sure people feel welcome, like as soon as possible. And we almost want to have kind of a laugh with our members. We want to kind of like hang out with them.
Yeah.
We want the experience to be fun and enjoyable, because if you're hanging out with your best friend, it's going to be fun and enjoyable. And if you're not enjoying learning about marketing, then it's going to be really tough for you to actually retain that information and feel like you want to do marketing. So, you know, by making it, you know, entertaining or fun or getting everyone involved and, you know, feeling comfortable, then immediately they're going to want to do marketing better.
Yeah. And it's like right off the bat, we try to kind of set that tone. So yes, we have kind of our welcome series that goes through, which is all worded nice, kind of friendly tone, et cetera, et cetera. But then one of the first things that they'll get.
Oh, you know what's actually the very, very, very first thing? I'm going to butt in on you there. Sorry. The moment they press the button to join.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I remembered.
we've got a little welcome like questionnaire, like, you know, what do you want to get out of Atomic and blah, blah, blah. Where did you first hear about us? That kind of thing. But the very first question of that is, what do you prefer? And we've got pizza, sweets, chocolate, or kale. Right, they're the 4 options.
So, like setting the tone off the bat.
And has anybody ever chosen kale? And do you block them?
People have.
Do you ban them? Do you ban
them?
They have
like the worst retention rates. The kale choosers. Yeah.
Oh my god!
I've never actually measured that. Maybe we should measure that. Yeah.
That would be the most incredible and incredibly pointless research project for memberships. Do people who prefer pizza retain better than people who prefer kale?
I'm going to put that on my Facebook ad targeting.
I love that. I love that.
But we've actually mapped out the first 100 days of membership. So we actually have all of these different touch points that people have to go through once they join Atomic. I think it's on day 2 or day 3, they get a welcome GIF of us sent to them publicly on Twitter, welcoming them to the family with party poppers. We do love a good party popper.
So we literally recorded ourselves pulling a party popper, and then we turn that into a GIF, and that's what gets posted. And the nice thing about that is, they feel welcome. It's public. They can share that, and instantly they feel like they're part of the community publicly as well. Like they shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not a community where you're like, oh, I'm secretly a member of Atomic. Like we want people to feel that pride.
Yeah, and you're taking your community into their world as well.
Yeah,
it's not like when they want to be part of Atomic, they come to your website and log in, and that is where they are part of Atomic. You're threading yourself into their world too.
Yes.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah. And there's a few other things we do. So they always get a handwritten postcard offers within the first week. Probably one of my favorite things that we do that kind of hits all 3 brand values is we do wins of the week.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily every week. Maybe it should be every week.
It's like once a month.
It's usually once a month. But it's usually a Friday afternoon we do it. And we'll just post in the group, hey, let's share our wins today. And we get everyone commenting all their wins. And then we do a random draw using an actual online roulette wheel.
Yeah, what's it called? It's called wheeldecide.com. WHWEEL decide.com.
Yeah, everyone that submitted a win gets put on the wheel, and then they'll win something awesome, like a free pizza or like the biggest bar of chocolate.
Yeah,
I like doing the pizzas the best because it's on a Friday afternoon. We tend to actually send them the pizza for the tea that night.
So literally, as an experience for the member, right? They're there 12 o'clock Friday afternoon, right? By the end of the day, they've won a pizza. It's on the table, and we've also bought them extra dessert for 2 people.
Love it.
It blows their mind, and they post about it everywhere. But it's not just the buzz for that one person, right? The whole point of a community is that people know each other inside of the community. And they support the others. It's not about you as a membership owner. It's about the other people knowing other people in the community, right?
Yeah.
And what better way than getting excited by seeing all your fellow, camaraderies sharing their wins?
Yeah.
It's a really positive experience for just everyone involved.
Yeah, no doubt. And the thing with that is it's an example of you are actually entering their home, not literally, but you are there as part of their world. And it's not exactly a life-changing, life-altering experience having someone buy a pizza for you, but it's memorable, right? And it's remarkable in the truest sense of the word. And it's a cool little way of incentivizing people to share that social proof, the results they get, to get them thinking about what they've had out of being an Atomic member. And of course, the more people are aware of the wins they're getting, the more they actually value their membership. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's also a nice way to almost get everyone going as well. Oh my God, they're all doing this. I need to post something. Or I need to win. What have I done?
Yeah. Sorry, Andrew, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, I think it really kind of humanizes the whole experience as well. We actually really do care about our members. And we've heard from our members and people that have been members of other sites. They don't really have that experience.
Yeah.
Where we absolutely love running Atomic. And we find our members inspiring ourselves, and just kind of having that camaraderie, as Pete said before, I think is really powerful.
And it's fitting with the brand values you talked about there, and I think that's so key. You talk about that second brand value of best friends, right? You want that experience of you hanging out with real good friends. And of course, a good friendship is strong on both sides.
Yes.
And so, your best friend buying you a pizza, that's awesome. your teacher or your boss or your professor buying you a teacher, maybe they're going to find themselves in the local newspaper, depending on the situation.
Yeah, it hits the other two as well, right? So it hits Inspire Action because everyone's always super inspired after seeing everyone's wins. And it's also Rule Breakers because no one gives away bloody free pizza. Do they?
Although we're now going to be getting inundated with our members saying,
you can't have that one. That one's ours.
It's gonna happen.
Told everyone these secrets.
It's going to happen, man. We're going to get...
I'm just kidding. We give away free branded pens. That's what we do.
Yeah, branded pens are the key. Hashtag sarcasm.
I love that. So another
thing we do there.
Another thing. This is why I want you guys in, because it's not like you've sat down and kind of thought, okay, what's the optimal 5-part email series to send out as part of the onboarding? Like, it's just all these little things that are adding up to a really unique, really creative member experience.
So we get like our community manager to do this. So if you're listening to this and thinking, that's great, I don't have time for all that.
Yeah.
Our community manager does this for us. So that eases the pain there. But we've had people tell us like this is the best welcome experience like they've ever had, and they feel really part of something.
Yeah.
And when you get a little video sent to you, and they've got a giant chocolate bar that's bigger than the body, and they're like raving about it, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Can I just say as well though, this wasn't something we'd done from the start.
Yeah.
So this was definitely learning from experience of people not necessarily having a great experience as they joined Atomic.
Yeah.
And we've just been constantly improving it and making sure it gets better and better and better. Listening to members when they leave and kind of plugging any holes that we might have missed. And I'm pretty sure there's still things that we could do to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all the obvious stuff in there, like the welcome series, and this is where you want to start first.
Yeah, it's not like you're just sending them a pizza, but you're not telling them like how to log in.
Yeah.
It's like forget about actual instructions. Just eat your damn pizza. I mean, so what sort of impact then do you think that all this sort of stuff has had on your membership? How do you think it's changed it as a business in terms of something that delivers results for you, something that keeps people subscribed? You've said, obviously, this is something you've iterated and improved upon and brought things in over time. What difference has it made to you guys?
So we started to measure the retention rate on this, and I don't have the exact stat, but the retention rate has gone up a lot from that. And obviously, you can never really tell exactly because you don't know how long someone would have stayed if you hadn't have sent them the pizza, as opposed to not sending them the pizza. Yeah. So, it's hard to tell, but we definitely know there's been a massive impact on retention. Definitely. And just the buzz about it and the hype, and also like the affiliates right away. So a lot of times people will maybe they'll have an affiliate program on the membership site, and maybe once they've started seeing some results, a few months down the line, they might start to then use that.
Yeah.
Whereas people, for us, immediately join and then immediately want to tell everyone about it. So that time is much shorter. So that's really good as well. Like, we've noticed a lot of people like really, really being, heavily promoting of that.
Love that.
And that's a really nice feeling. So I would say it works, with retention. It works to get members actually using your content, and also to help get more referrals.
Yeah, because that advocacy, that referral part of the customer journey, and you see that typical kind of customer life cycle mapped out. Referral and advocacy is generally something that does take a lot of time after the sale to actually generate. So even just that, if it didn't move the needle on retention, just shortening that journey from new initiate to your membership to raving advocate, that in and of itself's a huge result. And, I can certainly say from knowing you guys and being at events where you guys have been at, you guys bring super fans from Atomic. These guys are rabid Andrew and Pete Atomic membership fans. And again, so much in talking about the impact and results is quantitative, but that kind of qualitative result as well, like you can't buy that.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people join as advocates already, like even before the sale's taken place, which again is really awesome, just because we provide so much free content on our YouTube channel specifically as well. They join as fans, and Atomic almost just adds to that experience. They want more.
It's true. They eat it up, and we eat it up because we love it as well. I'd say like two other things, maybe just quickly to mention. We also give out Wi-Fi's, what we call Wi-Fi's.
I don't know if we came up with that phrase.
Yeah, I've not heard that. What is that?
No? So
it's a wireless high five.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So you could do this with pictures, but again, we've chosen GIFs.
It's because we're terrible at actual high fives. So we
do it once every 1,000 times, we make a successful high five. But we have this kind of like, motto of Wi-Fi. So basically, if someone tells us about a win, but maybe they don't post it in the group publicly, or we hear about it, or we see them achieve something, we'll tell our community manager, or we'll do it ourselves, and we'll make them a little graphic that says like Wi-Fi, like congrats on blah blah doing XYZ, like this is awesome. And then we post that out there, and again that fills them then with pride. It makes them feel like they're noticed within a community. It encourages other members, and if they share it publicly as well, then it's great because other people start to get jealous. And that's what we really want, right? We want other people to get jealous. So I know a lot of people have come to us and they've said, we've seen so-and-so do really well, and we've no idea how they did that. And then we asked them, and they said it was because of Atomic. So then they want to join. They want to join. They want to know. They feel like they're missing out on a party.
Another thing we've done recently as well, which actually came from, it was a member that suggested it to us. Because we haven't blogged for a while. Like we are solidly video content. But our members started wanting to blog for us. So we've let the members, because obviously our site's all about marketing. So we've let the members share the amazing marketing stuff they have done. Often it's been learned on Atomic and share that story, which is another really cool way of showing off.
So it's like, it's a really great way to sell Atomic. In a way that isn't salesy from us. It's like someone's so proud of what they've done that they've shared this case study on our website, and they've given away some tips of what they've learned, and they've thanked Atomic, and that is like the best way to get sales, right? It's like user generated content, which has, I can't remember the stat, but it's like 3 times more weight behind it if it's user generated. And also the extra bonus, which you'll love, right? Because it's from a member, all the other members are proud of that, and they will go and comment and share and congratulate them. Which just gives that like so much more reach.
They always do so well on our Facebook page, better than our own content. And they're always links back to the blog.
Like a link back to a blog.
That's awesome.
That doesn't work.
No, I mean that kind of like using your platform in that way, like telling your members stories and allowing them to actually be center stage, like it's worth its weight in gold. And similar to kind of what we do with the Behind the Membership podcast, you're not featuring them so they can just talk about how amazing your membership is. But the fact that your membership plays a part in their story means that it can organically be talked about without it being crowbarred in there and without it just seeming like a sales pitch. And, I don't know why more membership site owners don't do that, despite our encouragement.
I'd say the final thing. I just keep on thinking of new ideas.
Great.
Tell us to stop if you want.
Keep going.
This
keep going.
podcast is going to be cut halfway. I swear.
Part 1, part 2.
If we're going out places, or occasionally, we have quite a good base here where we live in Newcastle, but we like to do it if we go elsewhere to events. We do like to have Atomic meetups.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of membership site owners do this, but one of the things we did recently was like we actually put, I think it was like 150 quid behind the bar, and it said to members like, "Oh, you can come, first come, first serve." But like that was amazing as well because the members like I don't know they ate that up, and also meeting people in real life. It just strengthens that connection so much more to the point where we see a lot of members invite each other onto podcast interviews, work for each other, work for each other, become clients. Yeah. And a lot of that is done through the group, but also from those little like meetups.
Can I just do one more final thing?
Go for it.
Even the content on our site. So when they're learning, we want that experience to be very much Andrew and Pete as well.
Yeah.
So all of our training courses on Atomic, we've like given them their own kind of mini brand. Like we've got one on creating a social media strategy, but it's got like a Mexican wrestler social media mania theme.
Yeah.
We've just done one on podcasting with our podcast editors, and that's got like a rock and roll theme.
Yeah.
And it's just, they always have like fun little intros or just little things to kind of make people smile, because we want people to actually enjoy learning. We don't want it to be a chore for them.
Yeah, we've got one of our members has a similar kind of approach. Like all her stuff is superhero themed, and so all of her trainings are really heavily leading into these different kind of superhero archetypes and stuff. And it's just, I think in all of this, it's taking stuff that you kind of need to do anyway, or you're probably going to do as part of a stock and standard membership site. So welcoming a new member, but then thinking about, okay, how can we just like tweak this by 10% to just be a little different? So instead of a welcome video, or instead of a new member questionnaire that has very serious, very normal questions, throw in like one silly question. Instead of a welcome video, or even using something like Bonjoro or BombBomb or one of the video apps to send a welcome message, give them a GIF on Twitter. Instead of just organizing a meetup, throw some money behind the bar and make it that little bit special. So these aren't, it's not alien concepts you guys are dealing with here. It's just having that little bit of added punch to the things you're doing to make them more memorable and more remarkable. And I think that's what I really want our listeners to take away, because you guys, again, anyone who goes to your website can see there's a lot of fun in what you do. There's a lot of creativity. You're doing things very differently. And maybe that might be a little intimidating to someone who perhaps thinks that their business is too boring, or they feel they need to be professional. They're in a professional industry, or they're handcuffed by regulations, or maybe they don't feel they have much of a personality to put out there. You guys must hear that all the time. All of these reasons people can't or think they can't be creative or have too much fun with their marketing or their membership. How do you respond to that? And how does someone who is genuinely either in that position or believes themselves to have those obstacles, how the hell do they break through it and start being more creative with their membership, with their business, with their marketing, with everything they're doing?
Yeah. So I think the first thing to think about is that being creative doesn't mean doing it like Andrew and Pete. So we don't want it to be necessarily wacky or funny or slapstick or whatever, if that doesn't kind of fit you. What we want you to be is a bit more personable, especially if you've got a membership site, which is a very kind of personal thing if there's a join in. Be a bit more personable.
And I think also, running it through those brand values, like Andrew said, like what do you actually stand for? So you can be remarkable in other ways. Like you could create the most highly detailed, in-depth, technical, skilled articles ever. And that could be your thing. Yeah. You could be the one who creates the most beautiful graphics and infographics all the time, right? That could be your thing. Whatever. It's about having that thing, right, that people can pass on. Like you've told other people, check out Andrew and Pete. Like, they're really, really creative with their content marketing. That's something that people can pass on. Now, another thing is that it's not necessarily about diving in at the deep end either.
No.
So we did this keynote presentation recently at this big event in London, and it was all about whether your brand is either ready salted or Marmite, like a flavor of crisps.
Yeah.
Now, there's a whole backstory to this, but essentially you might think, okay, that's weird or a bit daft, right? And how do you know if that's going to work, right? So the thing is, it didn't just happen like that. We didn't get the call, hey, can you do this talk? And we thought, great, we'll talk about what flavor of crisps you are. And that can be a cool metaphor for your brand, right? We didn't do that. Instead, what actually happened was we're looking for these micro moments of remarkability, right? So we first had this little rant on our Instagram story, and it was all about this guy in our office who always bought ready salted crisps, and they never got 8. But we said if you bought Marmite crisps, people would eat them. And one day he did actually buy a Marmite flavor of crisps, and they all got 8. And we use this metaphor for your brand, right? And it went down really well. People like really responded to it, like, "Hey, I'm definitely Marmite. I'm definitely ready salted. Can you help me?"
Yeah.
And other people were like, "How dare you mock ready salted crisps? I love ready salted crisps." And people sent us quite abusive things, and we
like hardcore ready salted fans.
And other people made memes about us. Right? I mean, it was crazy, right? It kind of like not majorly blew up, but it blew up for an Instagram story. And we thought, okay, this is brilliant. It's getting, a really good interaction here. So we then put it in an episode of our podcast, the Andrew and Pete Show. And again, we got a great reaction from it. Like, we got the most comments about that one little story than almost anything else in that episode it was in. And if you know anything about our podcast, it's like a game show. It's pretty crazy. Mike's on it, so you should definitely check it out, guys.
Yeah.
And we got sent 70 packs of ready salted crisps through post. And some I Love Ready Salted mugs, like branded mugs. And we thought, okay, this is great. It's getting a good reaction. So when it came to the keynote presentation, we knew that was going to go down well. Yeah. We knew that that crowd full of thousands of people was going to enjoy it. And at the end of it, we sold 300 copies of our book.
Wow.
And that's what we want to say to everyone listening. It's not about diving into the deep end.
Yeah.
It's about testing small things first.
Yeah.
If you get a reaction, scale it up and scale it up again. And that's how you're going to win. Yeah. We've got so many examples of that.
Yeah. And a great place to start is often with those really boring, kind of mundane things that everyone might do on your membership, like your welcome email or the thank you page or whatever. Just start small with one of those aspects, tweak it, see what happens to get the confidence to do more.
I love that. And it's not, I can already see there'll be like a handful of people who think, okay, well, I'll do that. And then I'll split test it and I'll run an analysis for open rates and all that sort of stuff. Would you agree with me that is not how you should be approaching this? This is a little bit more about just being a bit more freeform and a little more experimental and just throwing something at the wall and putting it out there and seeing what kind of qualitative.
I would say yes and no, actually.
Okay.
Because
are you guys analytical? I don't see that with you guys.
I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
He is a bit more analytical than me, but yeah, I'm way more of a gut feeling kind of guy.
Yeah.
He drags me into it sometimes.
To a large degree, yes, it's all based on testing and seeing what that reaction is, seeing what the actual response is from people. What is there an engagement to this? If there's no engagement to stuff that you're doing, there's no point in continuing it.
Yeah,
that's the way we see things. Yeah. But saying that, analytics can massively help you make more informed decisions. And I don't want to ever say to people like they're not they're not worth it, because we, massively think they are, right? And what creativity is about is almost creating these mini case studies, right? And extracting what works. So if you test loads of different things, each one of those almost becomes a little case study, and you can learn from that and grow. And there's numerous stories about companies that have done that, they've tried little things here and there. And every time, they've maybe had a small win here, but it's failed because of this other reason. Mm-hmm. But every time they're creating these little mini case studies and then combining them all together, learning what works and what doesn't, then you can come up with something that's really special.
Yeah. So maybe not using analytics in the first instance.
Yeah. Not letting that be a barrier to you actually just...
Don't let it be a barrier.
Yeah.
But if you want to make the informed decision, if you are a bigger company that needs the evidence for their boss, start to collate that qualitative and quantitative data.
One of us has to be sensible.
One of us has to be sensible.
Yeah. But definitely don't overlook the stuff you can't measure. You can't track, you can't measure everything. And I think the point I was trying to make, and you guys are kind of backing this up, as if you're sitting there kind of thinking, okay, I'm convinced, I'm gonna try and send out a fun email with air quotes. Don't stress over okay, what call to action is going to be the most optimized for this. Just do it. Yeah. See what initial reaction you get, and then dive in a little deeper, and then maybe fine tune it and refine it. But it is more about just getting over that initial hurdle of like you said, having confidence to be a little bit more out there.
Yeah, I think email is a great place to start for a lot of people, because I don't know about you, but 90% of the emails we get just seem like they're corporate and boring and dry. And so we always try to write our emails. We don't even think about it all that much. We just write our emails like we were writing an email to a friend. And it just comes out more naturally. So maybe that could be a good place to start.
I've got a cool example of the whole quantitative versus qualitative thing actually here. Because in our YouTube videos, and if you want to check out some of our crazy marketing unboring videos, by the way, you can at andrewandpete.tv. We had a series of videos where we had large chunks of comedy in it, and then value, and then comedy, and then value. Mm-hmm. And what we found was the view rate on the videos wasn't that great. But when we were at networking meetings, people kept on bringing it up a lot, and asking more about it, and they really, really loved it. And then we thought, oh, great, they're getting a good reaction, but we were confused as to why they weren't getting great views or retention. And what we discovered was we went through the retention graphs on YouTube, in your YouTube analytics, on all of these videos compared to some of our others. And what we noticed was the people that were subscribed to our channel didn't mind this comedy stuff. They loved it. They ate that up. They even rewound to go to that. But the people that were not subscribed to our channel, they skipped it. They hated it. That's when they left.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think hated it. I think they were confused by it.
Confused. Yeah. Maybe not maybe they're not used to us. And maybe it's a better term. Yeah. But so what we did to combat that was basically use humor, but try and incorporate it and ingrain it more within the tips and the content, rather than having two separate parts of fun bit and then informing kind of bit. And so that's a great example maybe of quantitative and qualitative data coming together to form the perfect result.
You sound way too proud of that.
It's because I'm terrible at thinking of examples.
You're gonna.
So I was like, look at an example for once in my life.
Can never win an argument because I just have too many examples.
You're going to love the last question I've got for the interview later on as well. Because I'm literally asking for just a whole bunch of examples. There you go. I'll give you a little bit of time. For that. All right. So in terms of obstacles or excuses to kind of to hold yourself back from being a little more creative, it's really coming down to recognizing that you don't have to be as wacky or as zany as someone who you think is inherently creative. Mm-hmm. It's about establishing those brand values, what you are all about, and using that as a filter for everything you do, and then just looking for that little twist, that little bit more personality of how to be a little bit more human in the experience that you're providing, whether it's for members or for content.
Yeah.
The boredom thing, the boring factor, or the too professional, or we're handcuffed by this or that and the other, or, I've got business partners and how do you stay consistent? What else do you see holding people back? What other obstacles do you see your community, your members, who I'm betting are all working towards kind of following your model of being just more creative, however that manifests itself? What other obstacles do you see those guys facing, and how do you get around that?
Sometimes it's a lack of ideas. Mm-hmm. I think especially if you are working on your own, it's hard to kind of see ideas. Yeah. I think that's a benefit of there being two of us, is that we can always kind of pass ideas around to each other.
Yeah.
So we would always recommend, like, we've been in mastermind groups since we set up our business, like different ones at different times. And they're always just great for getting new kind of fresh ideas that you can bounce around.
Yeah. Another idea is to have what we call like a brainstorming buddy. Mm-hmm. So maybe you meet up once a week with just someone that's, close to you, that knows your business.
That's the cheesiest name.
It is. It's so cheesy.
Yeah. I feel like cheesy should be part of our brand values.
Maybe. And then also what we do is we encourage people to create creative frameworks.
Okay.
Which isn't as cheesy a name, maybe. Creativity frameworks. It's all right. And what this does, it sets like filters or boundaries. Mm-hmm. So if you're really creative, you've often got too many ideas, and you're a bit all over the place. And so to stop you from being pulled in all directions, if you can create this framework, like what's the outcomes, what's the brand values, what are the variables are there for this idea to work, what needs to happen, what does this idea need to be? If you can filter out those ideas, that's great. And if you're not creative, these boundaries within this framework like spark and trigger new ideas, is great. But the most important thing for creativity is giving yourself that time to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll get down and they'll be like, right, I'm doing this blog. I need to be creative. And then they'll sit there and they'll stare at a blank screen for half an hour. And then what they'll do is they'll give up and they'll just write the blog because they're running out of time.
Yeah.
They haven't given themselves that time to brainstorm, to think. They haven't got a buddy there with them to help them. They give up. Now, if you there's two parts to this. So if you schedule in time to brainstorm ideas, that is going to be amazing for your business. And that's one of the things that's taken us a lot further than everyone else, because it helps us come up with these standout ideas.
Yeah.
But the other part is the ideas might not come immediately. Mm-hmm. And this is what we call, not what we call, actually. It's a guy called Steven Johnson. He's got this book where the great ideas come from. And he calls it the slow hunch. Mm-hmm. So you might have an idea staring you in the face and you've got this framework, you're almost there, but you've not quite nailed it yet. Give yourself that time to think about it subconsciously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Andrew has what we call all the time an epiphany. Now, it's an epiphany while you're peeing. Because he's often got this slow hunch. He's thinking about an idea, but he's not quite got it yet. And then he goes away. He goes for a toilet break, and boom, the idea just, I don't know why, but that's what happens. I get the epiphanies while brushing my teeth.
That doesn't work as well.
It doesn't work as well.
No. A toothsome.
So, it's often about giving yourself, a little bit of patience.
It's almost like organized chaos, right? So for as creative as we are also as organized. Like our diary and what we're doing is so organized in. And if we want to get something done, so if we want to redo our welcome series, or we wanted to plot this 100 days, it's not something that we've just come into the office and thought, right, we're going to do that today. Yeah. It's probably been in our diary for a month at least. To do that on that day.
Yeah, like we're so heavily scheduled in, and we've got time scheduled in to brainstorm ideas.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just, like, if you come to your to-do list and it's like, plan the first 100 days of membership for your members. That's like, what the hell?
And it's just a task you need to get through. And when the objective of something you're doing is to simply get it done or to squeeze it in because you've got an afternoon free, then of course you're gonna skip past giving it a bit of breathing room, having that space to brainstorm and to try and find an
it's frustrating, isn't it? Because you want to just get stuff done.
Yeah.
And we constantly have this debate of what's more important, right? Just getting it out there when it's 80% ready and just getting stuff done, or being a bit more of a perfectionist and spending a ridiculous amount of time to brainstorm, to plan, to have the slow hunch, to think about an idea, and then finally to execute.
Yeah.
And we constantly have this debate of what's best. And it is just a balance. You have to pick your moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just about getting stuff done.
Yeah. And do you know what's amazing about all of this, though, is that there's always going to be people that say, I'm too boring for that, or I'm too professional. Like, we know we're not going to convert everyone.
Yeah.
But that's great, right? Because if you're listening to this now, if you are the one that does this, you are the one that can stand out.
Yeah.
Because there is only 10% that will listen to this podcast and go do it.
Yes. Yeah. Who has the balls?
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is with that, if that is you, if you are holding yourself back from actually putting more of yourself into your brand, more of yourself into your marketing, into the experience you create for your members, if you're stopping yourself from doing that, then one, it's probably going to come a little bit easier to you because you're not kind of pretending to be this fun, easygoing, kind of wacky person when you're just dying inside. But also, it's people, I think, just in all walks of business, they're so afraid of putting people off, of turning people away. But it's probably one of the best things you can do is to filter people out based on whether they actually resonate with the way you do business.
Yes.
It's that whole Marmite thing. 50% will hate you, 50% will love you and buy and eat you all up.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily 50-50 for us, but there are a handful of people that just do not like it, do not get it. They'll send us snotty emails. They'll call us unprofessional or cringeworthy.
I really loved your video about messenger bots, but have you got one that's a little bit less cringeworthy?
It was an actual email we got once.
Oh, wow. I love that. And yet, these guys are on your channel, they're on your list, they're following you on social. So is this just kind of...
about us.
Yeah, and has this just come as a surprise to them?
Yeah.
They've literally just realized. It's crazy. But, obviously doing what you guys are doing, it's worked for you. And it isn't rocket science, especially the stuff we're talking about here with the member experience. As we said before, it's the stuff that 99% of memberships will already be doing in terms of that box is checked. We have a welcome message. Yeah. We have a way for members to share their wins and this, that, and the other. But just taking that time to think ways in which you can make that a little bit more special. And it's obviously working for you guys. The proof's in the pudding. I mean, we met, 5 or 6 years ago? It was back in 2012, 2013. You guys, you had a successful marketing agency, but I'm sure it won't offend you if I describe it as being kind of quite a typical local agency.
That was a very polite word.
Yeah. It wasn't, it was not even boring. You guys were as nuts as ever, but, it was local agency, local clients, local networking meetings where, we met, marketing locally. And that, you were still kind of fairly early in your career, and I don't think you'd really channeled that energy and that creativity. Is that fair to say?
It wasn't channeled online. That's the thing. So when we first met, I think we had a fairly good audience locally because we were...
Or a reputation.
Yeah, a reputation. Because we were fun. And we would always kind of cause a stir at the networking events we went to. And there came a point where we just got frustrated because what we really wanted was like world domination, not like Newcastle and Sunderland domination.
That's the thing. Like, it definitely seems like there was... you mentioned early on, almost overnight, there came a point where you've just flipped the switch, started thinking bigger, aiming bigger, really pushing the envelope on what you guys are doing, and just getting that real kind of refined, I think, you kind of describe it as controlled chaos. I actually think a lot of what you guys do is very refined in terms of its purpose and the effect. And over the years, it's you guys, not blowing smoke, are getting better and better and better at, when you're speaking, at the content, all that sort of stuff. You guys are sharing stages with the biggest names in marketing, at the biggest events in the industry, writing books, getting featured on all these big sites, building a following around the world. And, I introduced you at the beginning of the show as the most creative content marketers in the world today. But that's not just because we are ex-neighbors. You guys know very well, those aren't my words. That came from Jay Baer of Convince and Convert, one of the biggest names in content marketing. And I was there to witness it. And you guys make sure that you trot me out to tell people that I witnessed it.
And now it's on a recording.
Now it's recorded. And, now to top all that stuff out, you're here now on my show. So I think that makes...
the highlight.
Yeah, that's a highlight. It means you've officially made it. What you kind of mentioned before, that desire to not just blend into the crowd. Was that the catalyst, or was there a specific event or a time or something that was that big kick up the backside? Because it did, from the outside looking in, not just for you guys, it did seem like it was almost like a penny dropped, or the last straw came in from kind of being a business like other businesses to being, you know what, to hell with this. We're taking the restraints off. We're getting out of just being these quirky local guys, and we're gonna dominate. Yeah. What was the trigger?
I don't know if we've got the same triggers here. I've got like two things in my mind that came to my mind.
We're looking at each other thinking like, I've got this. And he's like, no, I've got this.
I think the first one for me personally was the first time we went to Social Media Marketing World in 2015. That was our first kind of taste of the international world that we all kind of operate in. And we were like, oh my God, people are doing this so much better than us. Yeah. We need to like up our game.
I think it was also like a frustration. Like we were frustrated that we weren't getting any results online. Like literally, like our online presence, like although it looked like it was doing all the right things,
get the odd lead on Twitter, and that was about it. It
was terrible. Like how'd they get anything? Yeah. And we always have this big frustration because we're really ambitious, and Andrew's got a high D profile and a DIS profile, and he's like, I need to like get some results quick. So we always challenge ourselves, and we were incredibly frustrated. Like we were getting enough business from offline and referrals and networking, but not online, which is where we really wanted to grow. So there was this frustration. And then we went to Social Media Marketing World, and we compared ourselves to everyone else, and we thought like, crap, like like for example, Johnny Dumas, right? He started his podcast at the same time we started our marketing agency.
Right.
And yet he's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
And it got us thinking, well, dang, like we're not doing the right things here, clearly. So we needed to step up our game. But again, we thought, how are we ever going to compete with these people?
Yeah.
Like, even if we started a daily podcast now, we're never going to catch up to Johnny Dumas, right? So that's when we thought, okay, networking, we're different, we're remarkable, that's working. Why can't we do that online?
Yeah.
And that was the thing. That was like, so it was like a little series of events, but it was in the same, couple of months. And the moment we did that and actually took action on that idea, like we grew faster than we've ever grown. Yeah. Like we had I think that following year, 2016, 17, like we made more money than we'd ever made in the previous 4 or 5 years combined.
Yeah. And I think the other thing for me was when we launched the YouTube channel. Right. I feel like just having the video as the main medium we were producing our content on just kind of changed the game for us. Because I think the way we do it, I'm not saying that like blogging's dead or you shouldn't be doing podcasting, but for us, just the visual aspect of video just worked really well, and we were kind of kicking ourselves that we didn't do that sooner.
I mean, it's an obvious outlet for your kind of personalities. And again, I suppose that's something our listeners can take away. What is don't blog because you read an article once that said that everyone needs to blog. Don't podcast because your favorite influencer has a podcast. Like, find the thing that feels most natural as an outlet for you, your personality, and your business, and just dive into it.
Exactly. And again, it comes back to those brand values. And for us, once we wrote that down, it was really clear what medium we should produce our content in.
Like, our blogs were fun, but you just cannot get over the same.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can like use a funny GIF. Before it becomes a little lazy. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been an awesome journey, and one that I personally enjoyed seeing you guys go on. It's almost that little bit of pride. I know I'm not that much older than you, really, but still, it's like
you feel the same for you as well, mate.
Thank you.
As northern marketers doing good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't.
You were doing just web design and marketing, and you had your bootstrap marketing.
I had my book,
and now famous celebrity.
It's funny because we moved to Newcastle just as you left.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I heard you were coming. Yeah.
And then you came back.
Yeah, I'll let you guys have the stage for a little bit of time. You're welcome. No, and I mean, again, it's obviously it's clear just how much of that's been fueled by just looking at things a little differently and being a bit more creative and just I suppose putting in a little bit more effort than a lot of people are willing to put in to just find that little angle, go that extra little mile. And hopefully, if anyone listening has any doubt about whether they should be paying attention to this kind of process and to the stuff we're talking about, then that should definitely nudge them over the edge. Now, I promised I was going to kind of put you on the spot a little bit before we finish, because you've recently had me on your podcast. I believe by the time this episode goes out, the current season of your podcast, The Andrew and Pete Show, will be finished. So we will know how I have fared. Honestly, like, you guys put me through hell. You put all your guests, some of the biggest names in the marketing industry, through hell. Right. It's fun hell. It's kind of fun.
We nearly killed Kim Gass.
Yeah.
I feel like Janet Murray got the worst end of the deal for some reason.
Yeah, I think I kind of escaped relatively unscathed because I'd like done my research. I practiced like trying to give an interview with like a mouthful of water and stuff like that, which you guys did. So I'm not going to be as mean as you guys were, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, test your creative muscles, and get some off the top of your head ideas from you guys.
Okay.
Because just to give people somewhere to start with, this may just collapse.
We haven't scheduled in this time, Mike.
No, I know. I'm sorry, guys. I've got you now. But yeah, all right. Can you come up with just like 3 or 4 random specific ideas someone could try out today? It could be for their marketing, could be inside their membership, that might make them a little uncomfortable and might get them to think something a little differently. I want you guys to be my human idea generators for membership site owners. Maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's a video, maybe send out this email to people. Whatever comes to the top of your head, 3 or 4 random specific ideas someone can go away and try today. That's a little more creative than perhaps what they're usually doing.
Okay, old embarrassing photo.
Okay.
Tell a story around what you were doing at that point in your life.
Love it.
And where you've come to at this point. Tying in maybe why you've launched that membership site.
Ooh.
Awesome. That's a really
I love
good
posting
idea.
embarrassing photos of Pete.
Love it. Not of yourself, of Pete. So you need a fall guy, right?
Yeah.
How about taking like a screenshot of some of the main pages in your membership site and putting it into a 360-degree photo and posting it on Facebook so people can open it up and explore your website in a 360-degree photo.
That's pretty cool. I quite like that. Is that easy to do? Or is that something you can do a quick Google and it'll tell you this is how you stitch stuff together?
If you Google it, there's a little link which has templates.
Okay.
You get the little like Photoshop template, you put your image in and export it.
Cool.
Boom. And I don't know.
We should do that. That sounds good.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So the thing with ideas is quantity leads to quality.
Yeah.
So if you throw out 10 bad ideas, you're only getting closer and closer to that one good idea that you need, which is cool.
So that's the third thing someone can do. Literally just sit and just stream of consciousness.
Yes.
Write down as many totally mental ideas as you can think of in like 10 minutes.
If you give yourself the creative framework, and then what we play is a no wrong answer game.
Okay.
So
we take it in turns we have to say something. That's the rule. It's like quick fire. We have to say something, even if it makes like no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's around the point in the middle that we're trying to kind of brainstorm.
Yeah.
But if we can't, it might just be something completely random. We write every single thing down.
And if anyone's negative, they get a yellow card.
So is that just that sucks, that wouldn't work?
Yeah, because negativity kills creativity.
Hey.
Yeah, there we go.
It. Hashtag Instagram quote.
All right. Give me another couple of ideas. One each, and then I'll let you go.
How about to get engagement in your membership, you can set some kind of challenge. And you can say if everybody completes his workbook or does this certain task, then I will write a song about how awesome you are, and I will Facebook live stream it.
You could refund someone a month if they complete the challenge, but only like one. But that could be cool.
Yeah.
How about a welcoming party? If you have a launch, you get like 100 new members.
Yeah.
How about like a welcome party where you put on music and encourage everyone in a little Zoom call to get to know each other? Yeah.
Here's something we do. So in our welcome series, actually not on our membership, just on our main email list, we have, hey, we're Andrew and Pete. Here's a photo of us. We've got our nice, amazing professional photo shot by Laura Pearman.
Yeah.
And then under it we have, and here's a non-Photoshop one. And it's just like us putting like a stupid face, like selfie style on the iPhone.
Like Snapchat. Yeah.
Love it. What was it you guys? I can't remember if it was with Twitter direct messages.
Yes.
Where you send an automated message when someone follows you on Twitter, but the offshoot of it was you clicked a link and then you got to choose who to punish for the fact that you sent an automated message. Like that's the only time I've enjoyed getting an automated DM on Twitter.
We got so many features in articles for that. It was literally an auto DM on Twitter that said, "Oh no, an auto DM. Please don't tell our mothers. Feel free to get punishment on us here. Get revenge on us here." And then they click a link and they could choose from a variety.
I think the page is still, the auto DM isn't going anymore. I'm pretty sure the page is still live. andrewandpete.com/revenge.
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah.
If you want to check that one out.
That's awesome. Seriously, guys, I mean, I'm impressed at just the quick fire ideas we got there. Those are really cool. So that's the challenge.
How about a sing-along with your members?
A members sing-along.
We've done that one before. We've done that at Christmas.
Love it. Love it. This is awesome. I mean,
thank you. Thank you for having us. Yeah. And if anyone's listening and they're like, that sounds great, I don't know where to start, or they're struggling with some ideas, like, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, like, I hope people have enjoyed that. And the annoying thing about podcasts is it's like, oftentimes you don't know if anyone's enjoyed it because there's nowhere to like comment on a podcast.
Yeah.
But you know, if you do,
drop us a tweet
somewhere. Drop us a tweet at Andrew and Pete. That rhymed.
That right. Yeah. I love it. Things rhyme accidentally. It's like my favorite.
You realize you need to sing that now. Now we've discovered that.
Drop us a tweet at Andrew and Pete.
That is a first for the Membership Guys podcast. All right, for our listeners, I implore you to check out the work Andrew and Pete are doing, especially their podcast, creatively titled The Andrew and Pete Show. And I'm allowed to say that with my tongue firmly in cheek, considering that this show is also creatively titled The Membership Guys Podcast. So, but honestly, their podcast is unlike anything you've ever heard before. Their videos, check out their YouTube channel. You need to go take a look at this stuff and check out their membership community while you're over there too. It's all at andrewandpete.com, right, guys?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Do you not want to sing it for us, Mike?
I really don't. I really don't. It's not one of my brand values. There you go.
We're adding more brand values every time. So we've got cheesy and singing now to add.
Awesome. All right, guys, before this spirals out of control, I just want to thank you once again for coming on the show. It's been an absolute blast having you on the show. Well worth the wait. I know our listeners will have loved this episode. Keep doing what you're doing. Love it.
Thanks,
Thank you, Mike. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.
Thanks again to Andrew and Pete for coming on the show. I'm sure you agree that this was an awesome episode. Lots of real useful, real practical stuff and lots of ideas that hopefully you can go away and adapt and use within your own membership too. And as I mentioned at the tail end of our conversation, make sure, I implore you, head over to andrewandpete.com. Check out what these guys are doing and take a look inside their membership community. You know, so many lessons can be learned as a membership site owner simply by joining other membership sites. In fact, we hear that all the time from our own members within Member Site Academy. Not only are they learning from the training we provide, the support and advice we provide, but they'll learn simply by watching and looking at how we do things as well. So we act as a case study. And that is true of any membership site that you join. One of the best ways to learn is to see what other people are doing. Now, as we talked about during our conversation, a lot of memberships you'll go to, you're not really necessarily going to pick up too many things that they're doing differently from others. But I guarantee you, inside the Atomic membership, you're going to get a taste of that creativity that Andrew and Pete are so famed for. And that will certainly help stoke your own ideas and get your own creative juices flowing too for how you can enhance and improve your member experience. That's it from me for this week. I really do hope that you found it useful. I'd love to hear what your biggest takeaways are. If you are inside the Facebook group, Let us know in there your favorite part of this interview and what you're going to do on the back of Andrew and Pete's tips. If you're not part of our free Facebook group, make sure you head on over to talkmemberships.com. That's talkmemberships.com. Punch that into your browser. That'll redirect you to our group. Or if you're on the Facebook app, just search for Membership Mastermind and you will find it. We've got around about 9,000 to 10,000 members in there. Let us know your takeaways. Let us know your feedback on today's episode. And be sure to tweet myself at Membership Guys or Andrew and Pete at Andrew and Pete and let us know what you thought about the show. That's it. I'm out of here. I'll be back again next week with another installment of the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Member Site Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.